From incomprehensible strategy blunders to some utterly brutal radio messages, Charles Leclerc has been through it all over these past few seasons. So, let's get into the best, worst moments which literally made him lose his mind. To kick things off, we're going back to the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix. Now, this season had been nothing short of dismal for Ferrari, with the SF1000 being their worst performing car for over 4 decades. Besides 2 early podiums from Leclerc, the Scuderia had spent most of the season struggling to fight for points, and with each race, Leclerc looked more and more like he was losing the will to live. And then came Istanbul. The free practice sessions hadn't exactly looked promising, and when qualifying rolled around, Ferrari were absolutely nowhere, with Leclerc and Vettel lining up in a painful P12 and P11 on race day. And just to add salt to the wound, somehow the GOAT, Lance Stroll, had bagged pole. I don't even have the words. On Sunday, the weather was still treacherous, and as the lights went out, Leclerc couldn't have had a worse start, dropping down to P16 as he struggled to find a shred of traction. Up ahead, Vettel actually had a magnificent start, sailing past the first corner chaos into P4 before gaining another place at turn 9. Honestly, it looked like it was all over for Charles. But then, the impossible happened. 8 laps into the race, the Ferrari strategists actually switched on their brain for once, boxing Leclerc early for a set of inters, and this was crucial. With the fresh rubber, Charles began a heroic charge through the field and by lap 40, found himself in 5th, just behind Vettel, who had dropped a place to 4th. Leclerc seemed unstoppable, and just 1 lap later,
Leclerc is now ahead of Sebastian Vettel.
Before both Ferraris then passed Verstappen, who had been struggling with car troubles all race. With just 14 laps remaining, only Perez in the Racing Point and Hamilton in the Mercedes were ahead. By this point, Hamilton was long gone, but Perez seemed vulnerable. Leclerc began the chase, giving this race his all. As the final lap approached, the gap to the Mexican was less than a second, and then, with just 3 corners to go, Charles made his move.
Charles Leclerc locks up on Sergio Perez. He was trying a move to get second place in this race. Perez comes back at him. Sebastian Vettel comes back at Charles Leclerc. Sergio Perez, for the 3rd time in his Formula One career, can see the checkered flag and takes second place in a race.
And just like that, a podium slipped through his fingers. Still, considering how tragic the season had been, it was actually a solid result for the team. But Leclerc didn't see the silver lining.
You did a good job. Really good.
No, I did a job. I did a job. I did a job. I did a job. That's it. I did a job.
Even his team principal couldn't calm him down.
Tranquillo, Charles.
What?
È un bel risultato, stai tranquillo.
Okay.
And to top it all off, he started insulting himself in Italian.
Bene così.
Sono un coglione. Sono un coglione. Sono un coglione. Sono un coglione. I am f***ing stupid.
Man, he really didn't hold anything back. Even at the post-race interview, he was still ranting about his performance.
Yeah, I f***ed up in the last corner. Nothing to say. I mean, in the last 3 corners. So I've been good for one part of the race, but when it matters, and that's it. 4th. I'm so disappointed.
Now, it's bad enough losing a podium, but imagine being robbed of a win, and your home race no less. Well, that's exactly what happened at the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix. I think we can all agree that seeing Leclerc win at Monaco in 2024 was one of the highlights of the year.
The grandstands he saw built as a kid now rise for him, and for the first time in 93 years, this fabled race is won by one of their own. Charles Leclerc wins the Monaco Grand Prix to achieve his dream.
But before that legendary win, there was 5 years of brutal, and I mean brutal heartbreak.
Actually going to go for it here, and he can't stop. Oh,
that one didn't work.
Charles Leclerc retires from his home race. Charles Leclerc has gone into the barriers.
Not only will Charles Leclerc not start from pole position, he will not start the Monaco Grand Prix.
And I think the most egregious incident of all came in 2022. After an epic qualifying, Leclerc bagged pole, followed by his teammate Sainz, and then Perez in the Red Bull. At a track where overtaking is basically impossible, Charles was almost guaranteed the win. Well, as long as his own team didn't do anything silly like, sabotage his race. I think you can see where this is going. When race day rolled around, the weather was close to torrential, with standing water littering the narrow streets of Monaco. Even the formation lap was treacherous, with even the best drivers struggling to keep it on track.
That is Nicholas Latifi, and hitting the barriers as well, Lance Stroll.
After those goats stopped clowning around, the race got underway, with almost everybody opting to start on the full wet tyres. As the safety car pulled into the pits, Leclerc got a decent start, closely followed by his teammates and the two Red Bulls of Perez and Verstappen. In classic Monaco fashion, nothing much happened over the next 16 laps, but the track was drying, and drying fast. As the lap times tumbled, it was Red Bull who made the first move, pitting Perez for inters on lap 17. With fresh tyres, the Mexican was blisteringly fast, and in a panic, Ferrari called their drivers into the box 2 laps later. Leclerc, trusting his team, followed the instructions, boxing for inters on lap 19. But Sainz had other plans, believing that he could extend his stint on the wet tyres and switch straight to slicks.
In 5-6 laps might be dry. I don't think it's the right thing to do.
And yeah, he was right, as Leclerc immediately lost a place to Perez, who had masterfully undercut him thanks to the early stop. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Within the next few laps, the track was virtually dry, so Sainz pitted for slicks, and then Leclerc was told to do the same.
And box now, box now, box for hard. Stay out.
What
Tire position.
What were the strategists even thinking? Leclerc's rage was palpable, and I can't blame him. To make matters even worse, Red Bull boxed both cars flawlessly at the very next lap.
So Sergio Perez has now got the jump on Carlos Sainz. Verstappen has got ahead of Charles Leclerc, so both Red Bulls overtaking the 2 Ferraris.
It didn't even matter that the cars were bunched together, because overtaking on Monaco is all but impossible. And so, as the laps ticked down, Leclerc was forced to watch, as the driver just ahead lived his childhood dream of winning the Monaco Grand Prix.
Victory in Monaco goes to Sergio Perez. He wins with Carlos Sainz in second, Max Verstappen in third, and Charles Leclerc finishes a Grand Prix at home for the first time, but he will be bitterly disappointed having led the early stages.
That was just brutal. He was utterly defeated on the radio.
And P4.
No words. Aye. Season is long, but we cannot do that.
And made his thoughts clear in the post-race interview.
Talk me through how you're feeling.
Disaster today. The win was clearly in our hands. We had the performance, we had everything. I just don't really understand the call that I've had, and I need explanations for now. I couldn't do much. I was called just before the last corner, so couldn't react or ask for any information, but that was clearly the wrong choice, so yeah, we need to get better.
I really hope he learned a valuable lesson that weekend. Just do exactly the opposite of whatever the Ferrari strategists say. But not even that advice could have saved Charles from the heartbreak at the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, where things only got worse. A downpour before the race start soaked the track, making the conditions treacherous at best. But after a disappointing qualifying that left him starting only in 7th, it felt like the weather could be a hidden blessing for Charles. With some luck on his side and some chaos up ahead, it felt like a podium or even a win might have been on the cards. But within mere seconds, chaos erupted.
Lights out and away we go, and Hamilton does get away very well indeed. Bottas doesn't.
Further up the grid, Valtteri Bottas locked up into turn 1, sending himself and the McLaren of Norris flying into the 2 Red Bulls.
And into each other goes Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez.
This was perfect for Charles, and for a second, it looked like he was going to inherit 2nd place, but then...
The Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri getting caught up as the McLaren spun round with the Ferrari as well.
Yeah, you saw that right. Formula One's resident crash connoisseur, Lance Stroll, lost control of his Aston Martin into turn 1, slamming into the Ferrari, which Leclerc wasn't all too happy about.
They f***ed me!
He kept it going for a moment, but the damage was just too much. I don't think I've ever seen a man look more dead inside than Charles after a race like that.
It's very, very clear, and I was in my corner and Lance drove into me in the middle of the corner coming out from nowhere, so it's hugely frustrating because I knew it was an opportunity today, and to finish like this is just...
And Lance, he was as insightful as ever.
Yeah, I tried to avoid the cars in front of me and just
was a disaster.
And if you thought that was rough, I can't imagine how Charles felt after his infamous incident at the 2022 French Grand Prix. 2022 was a year of highs and lows for Ferrari. On the one hand, they had some epic wins and looked like a true title contender, and on the other, they reached utterly cataclysmic levels of stupidity.
That's Charles Leclerc. Oh, we've got both Ferraris out.
No!
And it is game over for the Scuderia.
No, what happened? Lost power.
But somehow, despite the continuous self-sabotage, Leclerc was still in the championship fight. With a 33-point deficit to Verstappen, the gap was large, but by no means insurmountable. And with an epic win in Austria just 2 weeks prior, it looked like the championship momentum might finally be swinging his way. On Saturday, he took the fight to Red Bull, bagging pole position ahead of Verstappen and Perez. And so, as the drivers lined up on race day, everybody grabbed their popcorn and braced themselves for an epic battle between Leclerc and Verstappen.
It's lights out and away we go. And Leclerc reacts very well, but Verstappen already ready alongside him. Lewis Hamilton ahead of Sergio Perez. Here into turn 1 we go. Charles Leclerc ahead of Verstappen. Well, here comes Max Verstappen on Charles Leclerc. There's barely a few car lengths in it. Into the Beauce we go. Verstappen's going to look round the outside. Down the main straight we go. You can see Charles Leclerc getting ever larger in his view because he's getting ever closer.
That was until lap 18, when the unthinkable happened.
There, and who's that got off?
Leclerc. It's Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc! Charles Leclerc is out of the race! And for the 3rd time this season, Charles Leclerc, when leading a race, won't go on to finish it.
Are you okay?
I cannot get Throttle.
You could hear the desperation in Charles' voice, and I think you all know what came next. Charles was absolutely livid, slapping his steering wheel and throwing some unknown objects out of the car. I just can't help but feel bad for him here. All of that pressure, all of the expectations, and it clearly got to him. He was simply just pushing too hard on used tires, and I don't think his post-race interview could have been blunter.
It's my fault, and if I keep doing mistakes like this, then I deserve to not win the championship. So the level is very high this year. I'm performing at a high level, but if I keep doing those mistakes, then it's pointless to be at a high level, so yeah, let's see.
But I'm not sure any of these outbursts come close to his rage-filled rant after the utter clown show that was the 2024 Las Vegas Grand Prix. After a mixed qualifying, Leclerc was starting in 4th, behind Gasly in P3, Sainz in P2, and Russell on pole. But as the lights went out, he didn't stay in 4th for long.
It's lights out and away we go. That's a great start from George Russell. Charles Leclerc is wheel to wheel with Pierre Gasly. Russell goes into turn 1 in the lead, swooping down the inside. Here comes Charles Leclerc. Leclerc has got past the Alpine. Leclerc's got past Carlos Sainz, and he is in the 2nd place.
Leclerc was now on the hunt for P1, and he was pushing and pushing hard.
To turn 1 we go now. Russell's got that inside line. They almost come together. He almost gets pushed off the track, Charles Leclerc, and stays in 2nd place.
But no matter what he did, he just couldn't make the move stick. And now he had a major problem. His initial charge had completely fried his medium tires, and within 5 laps, his pace fell off a cliff. By lap 7, he was already over 2 seconds behind Russell, and with his teammate just behind with more pace, he voluntarily let him through, hoping Sainz might be able to claim the win. But this backfired badly. Sainz's pace disappeared almost instantly, leaving both Ferraris vulnerable, and with a charging Max Verstappen behind, Leclerc was nothing more than a sitting duck.
And Leclerc might be in a bit of trouble. Here comes Max Verstappen down the Las Vegas Boulevard. 1.9 kilometers of full blast, full throttle, and that is more than enough for Verstappen to move up into the podium.
With his tires basically in shreds, Leclerc boxed for fresh hards on lap 10, followed a lap later by his teammate who had suffered the same fate on track. After the pit stops, Sainz still held track position, but as the laps counted down, it was clear the Spaniard was struggling, especially compared to Leclerc, and this is where things started to get messy. By lap 25, Sainz started almost begging Ferrari to box.
If you want, we can box this up.
Copy, understood.
Let's get off these tires and Box me, guys, box me.
But they refused, instead asking him to switch position with Charles.
And let Charles by and staying out for this lap.
Carlos wasn't exactly a fan of this idea, instead delaying the switch, which left both cars vulnerable to a charging Hamilton, who was right on the gearbox of Leclerc.
To no avail. Swap positions. Save Ferrari. This could be really problematic because Lewis Hamilton is right there on the tail of Carlos Sainz, who only just stays ahead.
It was honestly a miracle Hamilton didn't overtake them both. And then, just seconds later, Ferrari turned the levels of stupidity up a notch.
And box, Carlos box, pit confirm and box. Stay out, stay out, stay out.
What happened?
We're not ready.
Wake up, guys, come on.
I honestly don't even know what to say. Carlos did actually box the following lap, while Leclerc extended his stint on the hard. But on lap 32, just after Leclerc made a stop, tensions reached a flashpoint.
Carlos has been told to not overtake, but it's really close. He has been told to not put you under pressure.
One Ferrari with a fired up driver, and Sainz will get the inside line and fourth position as he goes past Charles Leclerc. These two have been passing and repassing all day.
You can understand Leclerc's frustration here, and he even came on the radio in sarcastic fashion.
Maybe try in Spanish.
But that move sealed Leclerc's fate, as he was effectively stuck behind his teammate for the remainder of the race. While both Ferraris managed to overtake Verstappen, they were no match for the pace of the two Mercedes drivers, and so Sainz and Leclerc had to settle for third and fourth, respectively. And I don't think I've ever heard Leclerc so utterly frustrated on the radio.
Pick up, please.
Yes, whatever you want, as always.
Charles, you did your job.
Yeah, I did my job, but being nice f***s me over all the f***ing time. It's not even being nice, it's just being respectful. I know I need to shut up, but at one point it's always the same, so... Oh my f***ing god.
And worse still, he accidentally left his radio on for his final comment.
And pick up, please.
Yeah, pick up what the f*** you want. And the radio is on. I'm sorry, that was...
So yeah, Leclerc has really been through it all, and I honestly don't know how he's kept it together over the years. But one thing is for sure, when you race for Ferrari, it's basically in the contract, you will lose your sanity. And speaking of sanity, I bet watching this video of Lance Stroll will make you question your own.